Hello, I'm a bit knackered, been working a bit hard and got a bit ill, but welcome to another Rich Hangs Leicester Square Theatre podcast with Simon Munnery. This one is absolutely fantastic, lots of surprises and wrestling on stage. You're gonna enjoy it. I'm on tour now, starting up on the 2nd of February. I will be in Margate. My other dates are available at richardherring.com/gigs or richardherring.com/the_best tour. You can see me in Fleet on the 3rd of February, Nottingham Playhouse on the 4th of February, Chorley Little Theatre on the 5th of February. I'm afraid Sutton Coldfield on the 6th of February is sold out. I'm at the Leicester Comedy Festival on the 8th of February. And I'm at London Leicester Square Theatre on the 16th, 17th and 18th of February. Those three are all selling pretty well, so get in there quick. London, if you want to come and see those. I'm also doing, as it occurs to me, the final episode on February the 12th at the Leicester Square Theatre. Again, not too many tickets left of that. It'd be lovely if we could sell it out. If I survive, I'm quite run down, as you'll see, from doing way too much. Lots of exciting news about, we're recording a Channel 4 taster tape for my sitcom Everything Happens for No Reason, and I'm writing a Radio 4 sitcom called Relativity, so soon I'll be able to leave podcasting behind and go to my rightful place back on TV. But for the moment, let's sit back and enjoy Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast with Simon Munnery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who is tired of London and tired of life, but neither of them will let him go. It's Richard Herring! Thank you very much. Hello, welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. I was hanging out at the clothes shop where Ben, the producer, gets all of his gear. And there's a lot of young people in there, kind of surfer kids, and they call it rehearsal, so I don't know if that's going to catch on. Yeah, it's lovely to be back here. I know I talk about farts and poo a lot, but my daughter is learning to use a potty at the moment, which she's quite young to be doing this. My wife's quite insistent she gets potty trained, and she's quite good at it. We're doing quite well, but like sometimes she mistakes. She says she needs the potty, and she goes and she just does a big fart on the potty instead of a poo. And I kind of thought it was sort of interesting because that's, we never quite lose that, do we? When you're starting out, you think, I don't know the difference between a fart and a poo, but we never get. However long we live, we never are quite sure that we've definitely got the right one. It's not so bad when you think you're doing a poo and it's a fart. That's all right, isn't it? But many of us think, I know what, that's definitely a fart. Oh no, that was a poo. I should have gone to the potty for that one. So she's never going to quite master it. And you think the longer you are alive, the more you would master that particular situation. But people who are 100 years old are probably worse than anyone at it. So it's never. We can do all. We've put a man on the moon, but we can't be sure whether we're doing a poo or a fart. That is. I am speaking for myself. I'm definitely speaking. Why would you shout out if that wasn't a big concern of yours? That is. People, I haven't just done a shit in my suits. That strange smell around here is definitely not me. It's probably Richard Herring or a naughty dog, one of the two. So we've got a weird kind of some empty spaces here in the front row. Weirdly today, there were some people here earlier. There's a man here. He's kindly bought a badge. You can buy these badges online, and that's the gold badge. That's pretty. Slightly worried I picked on a stalker, to be honest. That is it. So I never thought I would meet an actual gold badger. What put you off buying the platinum badge? Was it thought, I'll pay £5 for it? £10? No, I'm not an idiot. It's the badge. What's your name, sir? John, you seem slightly insane.
Yes.
Yeah, good. And have you ever been in a canoe?
Never.
No? Okay. Have you ever tried sushi?
Never.
Wow. Have you ever flown a kite?
No.
No? Wow, you'd be a terrible guest on this show. Have you ever tried to suck your own cock?
No.
Wow, no. I thought I'd definitely get a yes there, didn't I? If I'd asked Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't ask you though, Andy, and now I've got that. now I've got that horrible image in my head. So I'm hoping my guest is ready. He was just he's been having a cigarette and a wee. My next guest this week is the S&M, another S&M. Ooh. He is probably best known for his appearance. Is he back there, George? No. Yes, he is. He's probably best known for his appearance in The Dumb Show, the 1992 Edinburgh show. That's why we're all here. Please welcome Simon Munnery. He's somewhere here. He's on this side. He's subverted all my expectations. That's your mic there. You can pick that up and speak into it in a traditional... Simon Munnery, how are you doing?
Not bad.
Good. So do you remember the Dumb Show?
I remember the Dumb Show.
Yeah.
You were in it.
I was in it, and
I remember there were two groupings.
There were.
Yeah.
It was me and everyone else. Which group was I in?
No, there were two groupings.
There was two groupings. There was you.
Go through the cast list.
There was you. There was me. There was Stuart Lee. There was Steve Coogan, and best top of the punch.
Top of the bunch.
Top of the bunch. Patrick.
You're like Shakespeare, aren't you? He just invented top of the punch.
Top of the bunch. Patrick Marber was in it.
I'm not going to use that, but is it?
Patrick Marber. So it was.
As I remember it, it was Mark Coogan.
Yeah.
And Lee and Herring.
Yeah.
And me in the middle.
Right.
That's as I remember. There was two like double act kind of things. And
you the go-between.
Well, no, just indifferent to all of you.
Yeah, it was. You did basically an early version of the League Against Tedium.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah. And that
we're
didn't
in a
go very
couple of
well.
sketches.
I mean, the whole show was a disaster.
Well, it was interesting because we're in Pleasance 2. Is it called that one? I can't remember what it's called, but the bar.
Is anyone interested in this?
Yeah, they are. But nobody came to see it. When you think about who was in that cast, like we would get 10 or 15 people. But I saw Bill Bailey and Sean Locke. I think that year or the year before, do a show called Rock or something like that. Do you remember? Did you see that show?
Yeah.
Two people in there. It's kind of go back and looking at that and thinking all the people who would like to have seen those things. It was a weird mistake, the Dumb Show, probably.
Yeah. I remember the arguments and that. The main thing I remember is when Steve Coogan got the cocaine problem.
He had a cocaine problem.
There was one morning. Because the show was a disaster. I mean, there was two gangs. There was Lee and Herring and Marlborough and Coogan, and there's me in the middle. Hello. Anyway, but we always meet up for breakfast at a cafe in whatever part of Edinburgh that was, like for porridge. And sometimes we'd all come. Sometimes we knew the show wasn't working, and we needed to do something about it, but no one knew what. Anyway, on this particular morning. I remember it was me, Marber sitting there, and Coogan there, and Coogan suddenly goes, face down in the porridge. His face down, and I laughed my arse off. As did Marber, we both did. We said, Steve, you're such a funny guy. And he goes, no, I'm having a heart attack. Get me to hospital. I went, so I went up to the counter and said, can you bring an ambulance? And he went, no, quicker. And it was raining, and I'd driven my Ford Cortina, Cortina Crusader, the last ones they made. Yeah. I'd driven it 100 yards from where we lived, where we were staying, to the cafe. So it was outside. Anyway, and Coogan knew that. I think we were in the same flat. Anyway, he goes, so, and Patrick Marber's written this up several times in his autobiography. He's written it up several times. And he completely cuts me out of the story, which I find slightly annoying. What happened was, we just panicked, right? He's having a heart attack. We got Coogan in the back, and he was going, not time enough for an ambulance, get me to hospital. And so he's in the back of the car, Marber's in the passenger seat, I'm driving, Ford Cortina Crusader, all the trimmings. Velour, I mean, it was a beautiful car. I just wish I'd never sold it, but had to get done for speeding 120 on the M40. Happy days. Turn up. Oh. Anyway, he goes, take us. Get to the hospital. So we're going down towards the hospital, and we come towards a junction where it's a one-way street. Just go through it. Just go. So I did. I drove the wrong way down a one-way street to get Steve Coogan to hospital, and then he doesn't remember it. Anyway, Steve Coogan ends up in hospital. Right, blah blah. Blah. We know it's something to do with cocaine. That's all we know. It's something to do with cocaine. But we'll go back. We'll meet up, and what's going to happen? What's going to happen now? Is he going to come and do the show? Is he going to come and do the show? Later on, I found out that Jay Toddy, I can't remember his name, but my manager, yours, anyway, had gone into hospital. This is what I understand anyway. He got into hospital and threatened Steve Coogan. Said, if you don't do the dumb show, this was the worst show. If you don't do it tonight, I will reveal to the press why you're in hospital. And it turns out what had happened was a very simple thing. If you ever take cocaine, the thing is it lowers your blood sugar level, and if you go to eat, then that automatically lowers your blood sugar level. If your blood sugar level gets too low, you go into some sort of fit thing. And he got into that. And basically, all they did was put him in a dark room and left him for a bit. And he was fine. Anyway, there was this most beautiful moment, absolutely beautiful moment. Okay, so I remember I came back to the flat.
Yeah.
It was me and Marlborough, and by this time, it was very stressful taking a bloke down. You think he's dying, and you think he's dying. He thinks he's dying. That's why you think he's dying. That's why you drive down the wrong way down the wrong way road. Right, take him down to the hospital, put him in, and he's going. Anyway, we come back and we're trying to tell you and Stuart, but we're laughing. Mark said, no, he's not. Yeah, he's in hospital. He's had a heart attack, I don't know. Anyway, so he comes back, and we think, but what happened in the meantime was our mutual agent at that time had gone into hospital and threatened Steve Coogan that if he didn't do this show, it would be revealed to the press why he'd been in hospital. Anyway, he arrives at Pleasance Courtyard, and he gets out of the car. He's walking across the road. We don't know. About half an hour before the show starts. We don't know. Steve, we're back, Ray. I went and hugged him. I went, have you got any left? And he did. It was in his top pocket. And I took it off him, and I went to my favourite toilet in the Pleasance, which is the upstairs, if you're interested. It's in the upstairs disabled toilet. There's no way for the disabled to get upstairs. It's a really quiet toilet. Nothing. Right there, and I snorted a lot. Because my view is when someone falls off a horse, it's your duty to get on that horse. Finish the fucker off. But ever since then, I've read it about 3 times. Then Patrick Marber drove me to the hospital. It was my fucking car. I drove. I risked my fucking life. And Patrick Marber's, it's like killing Shakespeare or something. No, it's not. It's like killing someone a lot worse.
I think he's probably just embarrassed that he was in that. He was into his sports cars, wasn't he? He drove around in a sports car that Edinburgh.
Who did?
Coogan had a sports car.
Did he, in Edinburgh?
He drove around, he said, the famous quote was him saying it was an expensive sports car. He went up to Edinburgh.
An expensive sports car?
Well, he said it pays for itself in pussy. That's what he said. That was the charming thing he said. This is the early 90s Steve
It was
Coogan.
probably a character.
Maybe.
Look, we've all had sex, yeah?
We have. My memory is it was a Monday night and there was about 10 people in as well, so it was kind of crazy.
Unusual sex.
He was dragged from hospital to come to this gig that nobody was at anyway. So it was kind of. I think we could have let that night. We could have given him a night off as he was in hospital. Never mind. It was a fun time. It was near at the end. Peter Kessler, the producer, came to see it and wanted to put it on TV.
Peter
Kessler, do you remember him? And
no.
And then Patrick Marber suddenly really loved the show again. He hated it, and then he was like, "Oh no, we should really work on." But I'm friends with Patrick now, so I'm not going to slag him off. But let's talk about you. he got quite upset that we always joked about him. So I just want to say I'm only joking about. He's a nice, sensitive man, Patrick Mark.
Yeah. Badger.
Badger.
I'm a badger. That's my impression of Patrick Marber.
I don't think we're helping. You used to design video games when you were a teenager.
That's one way of putting it.
Yes. There's a quite bit on your Wikipedia page about it. You did asteroids.
Nothing to do with me.
You did asteroids for Commodore International VIC 20. Is that what it's called? VLC? VIC 20.
Vic,
I didn't have a Commodore. Jeff Minter described that as a pile of wank. And Jeff Minter, I looked up, is quite a big name in...
He's a big name. What got Jeff Minter into making computer games.
Right.
Was seeing one of my games and thinking that is a pile of wank, and that's what got him into it.
Wow.
So I take the credit. And I think Jeff Minter should, send me something.
He should give me a cut.
One of his brilliant programs that he's written.
You did ZX8.
I got fed up with it.
Did you?
Yeah. I was fluent. I was in Z80A and 6502 machine language at the age of 14. Yeah. And they say Latin's a dead language. But I got good at that, and I just got really bored with it. It's like, oh, the fucking machine. So what the fuck are we doing? All this time on a screen. Of course, now it's normal, but at the time, what am I doing? Is this going to be my life? Anyway.
Well, it was since I remember, I had an Electron, BBC Electron, Acorn Electron. And but you could program in your own games if you got a book. If you got a book.
If you got a book.
If you got a book, you could copy it out.
Yeah.
If you got one comma wrong, then it didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
That was
when you typed it out, you made a mistake.
It was like
it didn't work.
4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah, typing it out. It didn't work.
You would.
You had to change it.
That was copying.
But you didn't know where the mistake was, did you? No. Had to go all the way back for you didn't know.
Bad, didn't it?
Got to work it out. That's what programming is. I did that. I gave it up. It's a pile of shit.
I like Scramble though. You did Scramble for the Commodore as well.
I did.
I love Scramble.
The Commodore VIC 20, yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Used to be employed by a company in Liverpool called Bug Bite, and they paid my train ticket up. I was 16. I was earning money. I went skiing, and from a working class family. But I was independently wealthy on my own account from writing computer games, and I went. That's when I took up skiing because it was a school ski trip, and I'll go for that. Anyway, but and I got invited up to Liverpool, and to meet them. 16. You're on a job. Like it was boom time for computer games. But I went up to Liverpool, and then I thought, oh fuck no. I mean, it was really run down at that time, Liverpool, and also I thought, don't just golf, get educated, just generally educated, learn something, learn stuff, like go, if I stayed on at school, I'd get A levels, hopefully. I'm the first person in my family to have been to university, and possibly the last. When I went to university, it was a gift bestowed upon you by a magnanimous state. It was like, oh, you worked hard at school, maybe you'd like to go to university. We'll pay the fees. And a grant, if you're poor. But they got rid of that. Very, very recently, like in August. There still was. We've only got fees for that for a long time. I object to that. But they recently got rid of the maintenance grant. As in, it still existed, which I had. It still existed. The maintenance grant, that is, if you're from a poorer family, we'll pay you some money just to eat while you're studying. I mean, it's hard to understand now, but there was a time when education was kind of free. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's all in the fucking past. Anyway, that happened, and they got rid of that. Sorry.
No, it's interesting. So you went into comedy. Well, you started doing comedy. Had you done comedy before university? You went to university and you met someone I've been at school with called Steve Cheek, who you did a you did a double act with called God and Jesus.
The most offensive name we could think of at the time. We did a double act called God and Jesus. I was down there, old Bristol. Yeah. Do you know what I love about Bristol?
Everything. It's good.
Well, everything, of course. It's built on 7 hills, like Sheffield. And Rome. What I love about Bristol is the way the place names within Bristol reflect the places.
Right.
Totterdown. The houses seem to totter down the hill. Clifton, it's on a cliff. Redland, full of communists. Horfield, I was disappointed.
Hey, wow,
what a pleasant evening I spent testing my hypothesis.
Your Bristol material works in London. It's amazing. Look at that.
It's
fantastic.
But anyway, I was down there.
Yeah.
Right? Old Steve Cheek, he's an academic. He's Bristol University. He tells me stuff about academia. Little thing. I do a show. What I've done, but what they've done, they've got rid of architecture A level, not architecture, archaeology. They've got rid of it's like a little bit of topiary to the communal brain. Ooh, archaeology A level. Don't need that anymore. Isn't it one of the pillars that history rests upon? It's a bit like saying, we'll keep physics, but we'll get rid of maths. It's fucking nuts. Anyway, they did that. But it means that there won't be 15, 16-year-olds, maybe I'm interested in archaeology. Well, those archaeology teachers will no longer be able to pass on their love of archaeology and their interest in archaeology to future archaeologists. And what you're doing is trying to kill archaeology. Eventually you'll come to it, it's like a movie. The last archaeologist. With his or her few books, and he'll die, won't he? The last archaeologist. That's it, it's over. It's not funded anymore, it's finished. That branch of knowledge ended. And he'll die, the last archaeologist. He'll die, and they'll bury him. No one will dig him up.
It is bad. I'm a big fan of archaeology, and that is a terrible thing, but...
Are you a big fan of archaeology?
I am. I love archaeology. I did archaeological digs when I was...
You surprised me.
When I was 18.
With your demeanour.
When you were writing video games, I was digging up bits of pot in quite...
Bits of pot?
Yeah, well, bits of pot, yeah. Not the Steve Coogan.
That's not specifically archaeology, is it?
It's a start. It's a start. I went on some digs. It was a fun time. And you went to you did Edinburgh first. Then you've done your 30th anniversary of What's Happening.
I'm just looking at your notes.
That's my notes of your life. This is your life. This is like your This Is Your Life book. That's you, fuck mate. That's you. That's you. That's all you are. You did.
Do your worst.
I know all about you anyway. I just wrote some stuff down to be sure.
Not as much as I knew about you.
It was your 30th anniversary of your first Edinburgh this year. Mine is next year. You were there a year earlier with God and Jesus.
I win.
You do win. And have you done every year since then, or have you
missed one?
Just missed one out of the 30. So you've done 30 Edinburghs then?
I've done 30 Edinburghs, but I missed one. So I've done 31 Edinburghs, but I missed one.
Yeah. So, and you did a big celebratory...
It wasn't my idea, it was my agency who said you should do something.
Yeah.
He said, well, a gala. Anyway, so it was a benefit for Waverley Care Trust. You know them?
Cool. Yeah, I do, yeah.
And one of my favourite memories of 30 years, I'd finished my show at the Stand, and for the last 15 years I've been privileged to I've been performing for the last 15 years at 3:30, roughly. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes it's 3:20, sometimes 3:40. But basically, 3:30 for the last 15 years at the same place at the same time for a month during the Edinburgh Festival at the Stand, best comedy club in the world. Anyway, I'd finished my show and I was over the road at the Lord Bodo having my customary pint of cider catching the last rays of sun, about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And Scott Agnew comes up the road. He goes, "Simon, there's a benefit for Waverley Care Trust down at the Newtown Bar, and an actor's dropped out. Could you come and fill in?" Oh, of course I can. The only thing I resented slightly was having to go downhill. That is one of my rules for surviving Edinburgh. Maintain your height wherever. It's a hilly city. Anyway, I went down there, like Newtown Bar. It was absolutely jammed. A lot of blokes with beards. It was all blokes. They're all blokes, gay, bears. They're called. That specific sort. But jammed, and they've been drinking since noon, and we're like 5:30. Drunk, standing up, and drinking all day, and jammed together, and standing up. A recipe for a low attention span. I would say. You people are privileged. I thought this was going to be shit. But anyway, I went on, and it was the opposite. It was amazing. The most amazing, beautiful audience. Subtle of ear and warm. I mean, not as good as you. Subtle of ear, warm of laugh. Anyway, and we got to the end, and I thought, well, it's a benefit for Waverley Care Trust. I should probably end with doing my Waverley Care Trust joke. So I did. I said, anyway, this is a benefit of Waverley Care Trust. Give as much as you can to Waverley Care Trust. It's a very good cause. They raise money for people living in Scotland with AIDS. And it's bad enough having AIDS. Presumably, they'll spend the money on antiretrovirals and plane tickets. And they laughed, and then perfectly, as one, in unison, they booed me off. That is a perfect gig.
So, I mean, we'll take a quick... You've done some amazing avant-garde stuff, not just the Dumb Show, which was the highlight. So
just because you were in it.
It was mainly because I was in it. It was, even for me, it was a low.
But we all stayed in the same flat.
I think we did stay in the same flat. I can't remember much about it. I
definitely remember coming back with Marber and trying to explain to you and Stu while laughing that Coogan was in hospital.
It rings a bell. I think we definitely were in the same flat. I've wiped a lot.
You didn't believe that we were serious, but we couldn't...
You were laughing, so that seemed to be an inappropriate response to the death of Steve Coogan, the loss of Alan Partridge, all the things that we wouldn't have had. But you started on the stand. I'm interested in the stand-up scene of the 1980s, which again you were in a little bit before we were there right at the tail end of it. And you were. Well, me and Stu kind of arrived in '89, and you've been doing it a little bit before, hadn't you? Before?
No, I don't know. Not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
But you were in with all Malcolm Hardee quite early on, and doing the. Did you do the Tunnel Club, which is just burnt down?
Is it?
Yeah, there was a big fire in where the Tunnel Club.
Again.
Can't be Malcolm's.
Yes, I did know Malcolm Hardee.
Yeah.
And I did perform at the Tunnel Club.
Yeah.
I used to open spot. So, I mean, the Tunnel Club was. I'll talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, well, let's do that. That's why I asked. But, we don't have to.
You just tee me up from out there.
It's fine.
Yeah, I was. And it wasn't like it was now. Like it is now. Like, the Tunnel Club was something different. The Tunnel Club, like, just its location. Okay, if you're coming through the Blackwall Tunnel, if you happen to know the Blackwall Tunnel, you come through it and then just like immediately go left. There's a sort of building there. There's a building, not sort of. It's actually a building. It's a genuine building. It's a pub that used to be called the Mitre, but at the time I don't know what it was called. But anyway, the Tunnel Club was. So it was basically come out of the Blackwall Tunnel, and the stench of whatever they were. It was baby food, I believe. Anyway, so it was an industrial wasteland, absolute wasteland. And the Tunnel Club was a Sunday night thing that Malcolm Hardee used to run. And I remember being in the toilets there, and one bloke, I'm standing there, I'm still there, like 19 or something. Anyway, two of going, it's been a good night, hasn't it? Yeah. Malcolm gets his bollocks out, it's going to be a great night. And he did. He used to get his bollocks out. That was one of his did. I remember another time There used to be, it was rough. Like, they'd heckle all the acts off within about 10, 15 minutes. And in any other club, that's a bad night. You know, even though at the Tunnel, that was a victory. You could not come down there with your act and perform it without interacting with the audience. Jim Tavray used to think about, he walked on with his double bass and someone shouted, "Midget with a violin!" The wit of the crowd. You know? There was one night I was there and this bloke was leaning on this door like this, and it was a fire door, and it just sort of gave way, and he just went, a black hole appeared, he'd gone. And he sort of crawled back out of the mud or whatever that was out there. And Mal said, 15 quid, do it next week. Well, fuck it. That was his philosophy. He meant it. And, you know, he's one of the people I'm privileged to have known in my life.
Were you doing Alan Parker at that point, or were you doing...
the only video that exists, I believe, of the Tunnel Club is me tying on my arse as Alan Parker. Not introduced as Alan Parker, introduced as Simon Munnery, which that's what threw me at the beginning. Right. Yeah, now Simon Munnery went, oh fuck, I no, anyway, character.
So Alan Parker was your... Urban Warrior was your first kind of...
No, first thing I did was
God
Jesus, then Security Guard, then Alan Parker.
Yeah. So it was.
You've always been Richard Herring, haven't you?
I did do characters to begin with, and I would
Did you?
Yeah, I did a character called Cecil Massey, which was like an old Somerset guy.
Go on.
Racist guy.
Racist?
Well, it was sort of like that. It was that. I can't remember if I can remember any of it.
Oh.
I did it at university. It was like he was just saying the wrong things.
Oh.
So you were laughing at his. It was an ironic. It was he called. I can't remember any of it. It was a topical. It was something. Did something about Ayatollah Khomeini. We can get you more booze. I'll try to think of any of the jokes.
How many dollars have you hominied?
Ayatollah Khomeini. I can't remember any of it now.
But it was a racist character.
It was not. It wasn't racist, but he was an old man.
It was racist.
He was an old man who said politically incorrect things, and you laughed at his.
What difference is there between that character and you now?
I am more racist than he was.
Right. Oh, fair enough.
But no. So I did do because I was very uncomfortable doing stand up.
Dude, I know.
I didn't really like it.
Sometimes it go well, sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time it was either or, but I didn't really like it, and so I stopped doing it. Whereas you carried on doing it, and then I came back to it in sort of 2004. But yeah, so I hated that time when I was doing the in the early 90s. It would be for me.
You get. I only vaguely remember it, but I remember you get angry and like, fuck you, you're not fucking finding me funny, I'm fucking off.
There was one gig you came to, I think. That wasn't the act. I think that was just a bad. I wish it had been there.
It worked for Jerry Sadowitz.
It did. Well, I love Jerry, as I know you do. I'm hoping to get Jerry Sadowitz on here. I'm trying to get him on this at some point.
You never will.
I know, well, I thought that, but it seems to be more positive than I anticipated.
Will you do it?
That'd
be good.
Possibly. But his like Ben's shirt. That's a nice shirt, isn't it? And it's good, isn't he? He's a good producer. But yeah, I think you came to because we've known each other for a long time because you were friends with my friend from school, and then I'd meet. We'd come back from university and we'd drink in cheddar pubs, and then a lot of my cheddar friends were in London. They came to, and I think you might have come to that gig. There was a gig I did where a guy was sitting right by. It was on a slightly raised stage, and there was a guy sitting like there. So I'd be on just up there, and his head was right by my foot, and he kept on saying stuff. So I kind of went to sort of gently kick him in the head to stop. And all my friends go, gently. Do you remember that gig where you kicked that bloke in the head? And so I kicked him a bit harder than I meant to, so I kicked a heckler in the head. So I would get angry when it wasn't going well, I think is probably true. I wasn't very in control of my temper. But like you say, like sometimes it would be great, but not. I wasn't very. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. Whereas you always knew what you wanted to do, and you. But you.
What? How do you know?
I think you always stuck with whatever. You always stuck with. You know, there was your characters like would again sometimes go great and sometimes not go great, but you always believed that they were, and correctly, that they they were great. So you'd always carry on with it. Whereas I lost my bottle with what I was doing, and it wasn't as good.
I mean, there's a thing about losing your temper. One of the best ones I ever saw like that was not losing your temper, but like kicking someone off the stage. Was at Leighton Live in Edinburgh, Gilballoon, the old Gilballoon. Ross Noble was singing, "It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel funny." He was singing that with the whole band, and bloke, I knew him. And I was in the crowd, and he was not a friend, but I kind of knew him. And he was climbing up, and Ross Noble just perfectly just put his foot on the bloke's head and just pushed him back. The end of the world. I mean, it wasn't violent, it wasn't a kick or anything. It was, just no, get off the stage.
It was a, and then and so.
Have I ever told you the bravest thing I've ever seen anyone do on stage?
Go on, tell me.
Have I ever told you that though?
I don't think you have, but tell me, and then I'll
Stop
tell you.
Me as soon as you recognise this well-worn anecdote.
Okay.
Right, Leighton Live, back in the day, down the Gilballoon. Oh, it was rough, like a bear pit, like the opposite of this. And I was backstage, and Mark Lamarr, I saw Mark Lamarr, right? Mark Lamarr, who was the sharpest at dealing with hecklers of anyone I know, just bang, bang, he'll just deal with it. Like, you shout something at him, shout something at me. What?
It was bed, I think they shouted.
Bed.
Yeah, you can't cope with that.
I can't. Right. The point is, I'm not Mark Lamarr. he would have gone, bed? What the fuck? You talking about bed? Anyway, something like that. He'd have done something. He was just like brilliant at it. He was the sharpest. He was like, right. I hadn't seen him for maybe, I knew him. I was a friend, he's good at fighting. But he hadn't seen him for a while. He was backstage at Leighton Live, Gilballoon, the old one. And I went, hey, what are you doing? He said, I'm a compere. I went, what? And he got glasses on, and he started wearing glasses. And he was, the host of The Word, which is a TV show. So he was famous, like none of us were, just massively famous. And he was gonna compare Leighton Live wearing glasses for the first time, whilst being famous. Now, think about the atmosphere of Leighton Live. It wasn't like, ooh, you're famous. Ooh. It was more like, you're famous. We're gonna kill you. It was like, we are the rabble. It was 2 a.m. It was and there was a really anti-English thing as well. It was kind of anyway. So hey, Mark, good. All right, good luck. And I'm sitting at the side of the stage and I'm watching it. Mark Lamarr goes on, and he's just been heckled from all sides. He goes, can I deal with one at a time? Putting you on hold. He's just dealing with them. Someone goes, you specky cunt. He goes, I've been waiting for that. I cannot remember what he said, but he just dealt with it. He was just like a gunfighter, just standing there going, and someone at the back goes, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. And Mark goes, all right. And he puts his glasses on the speaker. He says, come on then. And this bloke comes to the back. Now, if you're here, you can't see at the back. And this is what I regard as the most physically brave thing I've seen anyone do on stage ever. Is accept a fight from someone you can't see. You understand? Right? So this bloke is, not only is he coming back, the whole crowd is volatile. But this bloke is coming from the back of the crowd with the whole crowd going, fight, 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 fight. And he spins his ass at the side. This bloke gets up, he's about the same size as Mark, a bit drunk. And the bloke tries to grab the mic. He goes, give us the mic. He tries to grab it. He goes, you can have a fight, but you can't have the mic. And you've got to start it. I'm not starting a fight in front of 200 people. And he pushes him behind him and goes like this. and starts taking the piss out of him. With the bloke behind him who has come up with the express intention of doing that. I haven't got that guts. I think very few of us have. And but the bloke, you could see him. He's just like the lights. I can't bring myself in. And you know, what he did was he stage dived off the stage. He smashed loads of glasses on a table, and the bouncers chucked him out, and it was over. That happened.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really like stand-up very much. So that happened all the time. I love the story of how you met your wife, which is almost a similar story.
I met my wife in Melbourne. I said, "What are you doing here?" That's actually one of Malcolm Hardee's jokes, and it was funnier when he did it. I met my wife in Melbourne. I said, "What are you doing here?" Well, let's try again.
They don't like jokes. They don't like jokes.
Really?
They don't like jokes. Proper joke. That's a proper joke.
You know.
They're too clever to understand a proper joke.
I met my wife in Melbourne. I said, "What are you doing here?" You got it.
Yeah.
Tell the others. I did.
But you did meet your wife.
Yeah. Right. And as a friend of Malcolm's, it felt like a prophecy. I said, "What are you doing here?" And she was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. That is true. She was. That wasn't our first conversation. The first conversation I had with my wife, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, we didn't get married, didn't talk. I was doing a gig at Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and she heckled me, and I married her as a form of put-down. It hasn't worked, she's proliferated.
Did she shout, "Don't die"? Was that a heckle?
Do you want to hear the actual gig?
Yeah.
His actual gig went. Most bizarre gig, as in... I'd done my show. I was doing a show at Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Alan Parker Memorial, worked really well, blah, blah, blah. Done that. It was a late night Fringe Club show, about 1 a.m. or something like that. And I don't know if grass is legal in Melbourne, but it is in Adelaide, so it's kind of legal in Melbourne. And I had a couple of joints. It was a really late night, and a couple of drinks, a couple of joints. I remember showboating in the dressing room a bit. I go, "How long have you been doing it?" "Oh, 5 years." 15. Just being really overconfident, you know, cry before fall. And pissed and stoned went out. And, I did one joke, which was from Alan Parker. I was in the Alan Parker costume. I did one joke from the Alan Parker character set, which I will do for you very, very soon, if you're good. And then I said, "Right, Melbourne, got any issues?" Right. I wanted to improvise. I was asking them to shout things out, and I was going to improvise. That's the mood I was in. I wanted to improvise. Anyway, I can't be bothered. You'll have heard it anyway. Brothers and sisters, look at the state of this country. Young women sitting in their bedrooms, sticking their fingers down the backs of their throats, making themselves sick, because those young women don't think they're attractive enough. Same time, young men sitting in their bedrooms, wanking themselves to death for the very much the same reason. If only everyone could get together and unite. She could stick his dick down her throat, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Radical problems, radical solutions. Yeah. Okay. Joke went all right. Bang. So when you come on stage, you got to have something, or not. You don't have to. You have to start well or not. You don't have to. It's all right. I remember Alan Davies years ago, seeing him just create space for himself. Alan Davies, you heard of him? The tramp ear biter. I broke his leg. I did. Ask him, playing football. It was a fair challenge. We used to play, jumpers, Tottenham. Anyway, not for Tottenham. They've got better. Marginally. But we used to play in Parkingham. But, it was a 50-50 challenge. He came off worse. He's a competitive football. He's a competitive bloke, a competitive football player, and as am I. If I'm playing someone who's competitive, I'm more competitive than if I'm playing someone who's less competitive. It's probably why I'm not a professional footballer. To me, it varies. Like if you're not very good and you're a child or something, I'm not going to kick your face in. But Anne Davies not like that. It's a bit cruel, isn't it? No, but it was 50-50. He broke his leg. No, I broke his leg, but he deserved it. I've nothing against Anne Davies, except he's an Arsenal fan. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Meeting your wife. We're on stage in Melbourne.
I met my wife.
Yeah.
So I'm on stage in Melbourne, as I am now, in a way. It was a weird gig, right? So I started in Alan Parker, this character I'd done in my show, sold out show, gone well. And I did one joke, which was the one I just did. I went, right, Melbourne, got any issues? And this bloke at the back shouts out, repetitious comedians. and I went, oh! So I just suddenly, no more character, none of that. My London skin came through, what the fuck? Just angry. And, you London's... Anyway. And then it went on, and I tried to carry on doing the character, but it didn't work. I wasn't acting it very well, probably. I couldn't eventually, and it wasn't working. There was no laughs coming to the jokes. Basically, I went, and the whole crowd went, and then I couldn't get them back. I just, and we were in this thing. And I said, I'll do another act that would be in a different costume that I'm still working on. I'll try that. So I did a bit of that, and part of that was the act of supreme supremacy. It was about the Church of England and Catholicism. Anyway, part of it was about Jesus. Doesn't really matter. It wasn't going well. And then someone shouts out, oh no, before that, not my wife, but my wife's cousin, it turned out later, shouts out, oh no, I go, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And this bloke in front of me goes, you're too polite, mate. I went, oh, I'm sorry. And I was back to laughter again. I carried on, trying to, nothing worked, and then it turned out to my wife, shouted out, don't die, like an order. Don't die? And the reply, the thought that came to me at that moment was, where were you at the crucifixion? Right? Which is quite a good riposte. That's not what I said. I was so stoned and drunk, the thoughts, I changed it to, where were you at Calvary? It's the same idea, but slightly more complex. And possibly the wrong country. Might be in Canada. Calgary, oh fucking knows. Anyway, bang, and I remember backing off the stage. Right, I'd done my time. Backing off the stage to sort of, it was a weird gig. And coming off and going, fuck me, I'll lay off that stuff. And ended up back in the bar, just drinking. chatting to another comic who was doing his role, and this girl comes up, goes, "Oh, a new American woman." She said, "You got me my friend. You got me my friend." I said, "I don't want to meet your friend. I just had a really weird gig. Just having a drink with my mate. I don't want to meet your friend." "You got me my friend. You got me your friend. What? You're an agent?" "I don't want to meet your friend." I said, "A really weird gig. I'm just going to get drunk now." That was weird. And the third time she comes up, she goes, "You got me your friend. Your friend. She haggled you." I said, "Right, yeah, I got me her." And then we got married, and that's that.
It's lovely.
That's right.
And you got 3 girls?
3 daughters, yeah. And 1 dog who's male. We watch Match of the Day. He doesn't understand it, but I explain it to him. Oh, happy time. No hair.
So,
No fucking makeup.
I mean, there's so many things we could talk about, Simon. But
No, there's 7.
there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things.
You're like Graham Norton, but less so. Hey, you asked me a Graham Norton story. You haven't done that?
Me have got great Graham Norton story.
Have you got a Graham Norton?
Have you got one?
Yeah.
He used to be on after me or before me when I used to be in the Pleasance Attic. So, he was always doing Mother Teresa. No, he was doing Mother Teresa of Calcutta or something. He did a show.
What's your Graham Norton story?
No, I don't have one. That's it. That's the story.
Nothing. And you come here?
What's yours? Unprepared with the Graham Norton story. I was once in a restaurant and he was eating at another table in London.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of Kafkaesque.
I had a steak.
Once so, it's less of a story, more of a paragraph. Once I was in a restaurant and Graham Norton was at another table. Full stop.
What is your Graham
Faber and
Norton?
Faber?
What is your Graham
Is that
Norton story?
Faber and Faber?
And have you got a Brian?
Cracked it.
Have you got a Brian Blessed story? That's what I want to really ask you. But
Never met Brian Blessed.
Ah, well, go for Graham Norton then.
Wouldn't you just? No. What?
Do you have a Graham Norton story? That you've taken the piss out of me for not having one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not going to tell it.
You can get lots of your stuff at gofasterstripe.com. I thought I'd just tell people.
Sanitary towels. Poo-poo bum wipes.
You've done a lot. You did a thing with Kevin Eldon, which is
yes. I'm
that
ashamed of it now.
Mr. Bartlett and Mr. Willis.
It's his thing, really. His thing. I just.
Is it what?
It's his thing.
It was his thing. But you were in it when you've worked.
I was
with
in
him
it. I don't deny it. You know.
You've worked with him a lot. But a lot of your.
I like him.
He's all right. He's a likeable fellow, and he's good at doing stuff.
Oh, he's a bloody good actor.
He is very funny. Well, you did. You're
Not as good as he thinks he is. Few of them are.
Well, you worked we did Club Zarathustra, which was it was so interesting because in the 90s with all that stuff, it kind of nearly got propelled over into TV. I mean, you did a TV pilot, Club Z. You did some Alan Parker stuff on TV. But Club Z was a very avant-garde, which you've carried on subsequently. Very avant-garde stuff with Kevin and Stuart and Roger Mann and Richard Thomas.
Is there an end to this?
No. I'm just telling them. I'm telling you. I'm telling them through the medium
You're
of telling
them
you.
what I've done.
Yeah.
There's no end. That's good. I've done loads of stuff.
You've done loads, but it's
and I'm not famous.
It's amazing. But what? So how'd you feel? Because I really felt with Club Z, it was so good as a live experience, and you did this TV pilot of it, which was looking amazing as well, and you ran out of money and put insert money in here at the end of it, basically.
That's suicide.
That was that, yeah. But it could have been it could have been like this amazing TV thing, and then it wasn't. So do you regret that, or are you happy that it didn't become? It felt like it could have been the sort of avant-garde Python of of our generation. If you genuinely died, it'd be very good for the podcast.
Oh, you've hit me from behind! How do I feel about the lack of success of clubs and this I have no feelings.
Do you feel, I mean, no one can hear you now. Do you feel, I'm going to talk now because no one can hear you. Do you feel, I mean, because you've carried on doing that stuff, and are you, all that stuff, all that rubbish you do, and do you feel happier? Do you feel happier that it's, do you feel happier that it's a sort of more secret thing, live thing? Or would you have liked it to be more successful in TV terms?
Would you wish you'd been more successful? Hey, you! Do you wish you'd been more successful? Do you wish that? Do you wish you'd been more successful? That's what you've been on. Well, you're already done.
Because I think you should be more successful.
Well, why don't you give me some of your fucking money? I can build a house, or a shack, or a theatre.
Anyway,
It was good though, wasn't it?
next question.
It was good though, wasn't it? Club said. It was good.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I was in it. How do you know? I was talking to a woman earlier, who was 14 when she first saw it.
Right.
She loved it so much.
Well, it was an amazingly. It was a cult thing within the live circuit, and it was, I was an audience member. I was in it a couple of times, but I was just usually came to watch it. Yeah, I played a frightening Father Christmas, who had to give everyone all presents with pictures of erect penises stuck on them, and I wore a kind of gas mask. It was Stuart's idea. I had to wear a gas mask. I was on a leash, and I had to give people presents and then kind of sexually molest people in the audience. And then every time I started to try and do that, Stu would crack I think he had a whip or a leash, and he would stop me touching the people.
And that
so I had to go up and go, like I was in Shanandalus or something, and then
the Market Tavern.
Yeah. It was It was the Christmas show. Hence the frightening Father Christmas. I was.
When you unleash something, you don't really know what it's going to end up like.
No.
And that's how it ended up.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's over. To be honest. Do you remember Tim Richardson?
I do remember Tim Richardson.
The first ever Club Zarathustra, Tim Richardson was a founder member in a way.
Right.
And he did this thing, which was Man of the Sea. And what he did was, he made a tape. Well, it's a long time ago. C6, anyway. Tape, it's like an audio recording system. I mean, it worked. That's what we did. Anyway, he recorded the shipping forecast on radio. Anyone? Just me then. On loop. So it was a tape of that, and he walked around in his costume. I can't remember what the costume was, but he had loads of grapes with cocktail sticks stuck in them with little flags. These grapes, and he just while the shipping forecast was playing in the audience, he walked round sellotaping these little flags with messages about the sea to people's faces as you walk around. And it was the most just so, ooh, that changed the atmosphere. I've never seen anything like that. Oh, he's the most hilarious man I've ever known.
He's very funny, Tim. Yeah, he's a journalist.
You still in touch?
Yeah, still see him. Yeah. He writes about sweets now, and gardens.
Yeah, waste.
Yeah. Who can imagine why that didn't make it on primetime TV? That show, they went for Mrs. Brown's Voice instead of that. I can't believe it. So, not directly.
What about arm wrestling? You ain't good at that?
No.
If I can have you, son.
I'm sure you can. You'll break my arm.
Oh, that's the aim.
It's been a long time.
You, get up and referee. You, get up and referee, come on.
You've got to come and referee.
Come on, will you? Yeah. In the end, it doesn't matter who wins. It's all entertainment, isn't it? You know the rules?
Yep. Is it important that I know the rules?
We should be in the middle, should we? You should be doing this.
Shall I do it? I'll go with Andy.
No.
Do you know him? Yeah, it's Andy McCage.
It's looking a little bit rigged to me. Go on, Reg. And steady, tense. I don't know. And go. It's saying.
Go on, Rick. He isn't trying. He's got a longer arm than I have. He's got a longer arm. It's not fair.
Use your hand on
Weight advantage. It was tough. That was tough. That's the hardest arm wrestle I've had.
Does it always end like that?
It does, yeah. I think it might do. I might do from now on. I should have done it with Milliken.
You have lost.
Well, there's too much to talk to you about, Simon. I loved your light. We were going to talk about your light bulb suit. That was an amazing.
I used to have a suit made of light bulbs.
Yeah. Amazing. If you saw a girl you fancied, you'd light it up.
I did, and also pictures in a gallery at Prague.
Oh, right, yeah. And you did a non-dining restaurant?
Yeah.
Were people happy with that?
Oh, no. Quite a lot of complaints. It was relatively empty. I mean, compared to the other dining restaurants, where people got what they expected. No, it was a parody of a restaurant.
Yes.
It was a show, and because I always thought, not always, anyway. I don't really know, but I thought, is it possible to do a show for 4 people? 2 people. I started with 2 people. It's possible to do a show for 2 people. It's really awkward. You're standing up talking, blah, 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 and there's 2 people in the audience. That's really awkward. Right. 4, so basically about 30, that's an audience. But is it possible to do one? I thought, yeah, if you do it in the format of a restaurant. So please sit down, you know. So basically, that was the idea. And I went with that, and I started with 2, then went to 4, finally ended up with 8. And I used to did it the disused shop in Carnaby Street 5 times a day. So basically, it was a 45-minute show. Then I had 15 minutes set up. And by the time I finished setting up, oh fuck, they're outside again. And you do it 6 times a day, and then run to Oxford Street. So much adrenaline you got after if you're doing. Anyway, I think it was brilliant, but you know, you weren't there. But it does work. So 8 out of 10 shows were good. 1 was awful, and 1 was brilliant. And the one that was awful was because someone would pull focus. If you go a small group of 8, it's embarrassing to be an audience of 8 unless, but if you've got the restaurant format, it's not embarrassing anymore. And so, comic possibilities ensue. Lost some of you. No, anyway, I've had enough now.
Okay. That was our safe word.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Munnery.
Thank you very much.
How'd you like them sky potatoes?